antidiuretic hormone. Like I said yesterday, we cannot use abbreviations in life science. No ATP, right? ADH, antidiuretic hormone. What produces antidiuretic hormone? Don't all of you lift up your hands at once. Yes, this is what gets the matrix as well. Hypothalamus produces ADH, sends the ADH to the pituitary gland to be stored until ready to be secreted. So please make sure you know that. ADH is produced by the hypothalamus and secreted by the pituitary gland. Is someone asking me how you spell antidiuretic hormone?
I know how to spell it.
Okay.
No,
Hypothalamus. You must say it like how you're going to spell it. Hypo, how do we all spell hypo? H-Y-P-O. T-H-A. La, L-A. And mus, M-U-S. Remember in the matric exam, we are going to sound out that word. So you also get used to pronouncing it properly and you will sound it out and write it. Now, ADH, produced by the hypothalamus, secreted by the pituitary gland. I'm just drawing, this is the renal tubules. Yes, I know you know the proper names for it. Loop of Henle, proximal convoluted tubule, distal convoluted tubule. In matric, you can say renal tubules as well. On a hot day, which is today, but you are fine. You have lots of water here. On a hot day, we perspire a lot, sweat a lot. Okay, let me speak your language. We sweat a lot, like me right now. Right? We sweat a lot, and we're very active. And sometimes when you are playing a sport, you don't drink as much water. So the amount of water you're taking in is not equal to the amount of water that you are losing. So, in your blood, there is a low amount of water. Now, there are osmoreceptors in your body that pick up that there's very little water in your blood. That's very, very dangerous. Before I ask you why and teach you about ADH, why is water so important? Why is it that we can go without food for 2 weeks, but we cannot survive without water for more than 2 days? Yes, that's a question I will ask.
The chemical reactions in your body require water.
Very, very good. All the chemical reactions in your cells need water. So, what controls the chemical reactions? Enzymes. And enzymes can also only function in the presence of water. Okay, grade 10 work. Right, so water is very, very important. Now, osmoreceptors pick up that there's not enough water. Sends a message to the pituitary gland to secrete more ADH. Now we'll use the abbreviation because I cannot fit the whole word in there. Because here in the renal tubules, you have lots of water. The water got filtered into the Bowman's capsules, part of the filtrate. So, when you're talking about hormones, aldosterone and ADH, you have to use the word more and less. You have to. Right. So, the pituitary gland secretes more ADH, and ADH is now secreted in the renal tubules. And the ADH causes the renal tubules to be more permeable to water, so that this water now leaves the renal tubules and goes into your blood. What will happen to the amount of water in your blood? Your blood volume will increase. But this is the collecting duct. Any substance that goes there, it's too late, it's already urine. Now, the water has moved out of the renal tubule, so your urine will have less water. There's a word for that. Your urine will be concentrated. So that is what happens on a hot day with ADH. Very, very important. See, matric, what they do is they give you a scenario. They tell you, Sandy was walking in the desert. She was dehydrating for 2 days. And then she was dizzy. She fell down. I'm actually giving you the essay topic from March 2017, by the way, paper 1. And then she lost balance, explained the changes that took place in her body to regulate the amount of water in her body. And for the first time, they wanted 2 hormones, antidiuretic hormone and aldosterone. Okay. So please make sure when you have time, go to that March 2017 paper 1 and have a look at it. So if they ask you from now, what 2 hormones are responsible for osmoregulation? What is osmoregulation? Controls the amount of water in your body. ADH, antidiuretic hormone, and aldosterone. I will still do this afterwards. Now, cold day. The exact opposite happens on a cold day. Okay, so these diagrams are all in your notes, so I don't want you to write anything. On a cold day, we still perspire. We just perspire less. You sweat less. You're less active. You don't lose as much water. And so, in your blood, the blood volume will be high. The osmoreceptors pick up that the blood volume is high, there's enough water in your blood. Sends a message to the pituitary gland to secrete less ADH. There's less ADH in the renal tubules. It causes the renal tubules to become less permeable to water. Less water leaves and goes into your blood, and it causes more water to be lost in the urine. If there's more water in your urine, how do you describe that? Yes, diluted. Please don't say less concentrated. Yes, diluted. Okay, if you know the word hypertonic and hypotonic, it's fine. But for me, I prefer concentrated. You know, with Oros juice, you put lots of Oros and it becomes very concentrated. If you put 1 cap of Oros, it's too little. Right, so diluted. Right, so remember those words. Concentrated and diluted is easier. That is antidiuretic hormone. Please, very, very important. Okay, so that is the first hormone that is responsible for osmoregulation. Aldosterone is a hormone that's secreted by the adrenal gland. So on your kidney is the adrenal gland. And the adrenal gland secretes 2 hormones, aldosterone and adrenaline. So you're going to learn adrenaline next year. But now you have to learn aldosterone, which you know controls the amount of, now watch this, you're not allowed to use the word salt anymore in the matric exam. You have to use the correct word, sodium chloride. Okay, so you'll just make notes of this. Right, maybe your teachers are also keeping track with it and they will only accept sodium chloride. Now, sodium chloride, salt. Why is salt so important in the body? Yes. Okay, it controls osmotic potential. Yes, no problem. Besides that?
Controls the blood pressure.
Controls blood pressure. And blood pressure, we learnt in grade 10, is the pressure at which the heart pumps blood, the oxygenated blood to every cell. But we also learned that too much sodium chloride causes high blood pressure. Too little causes low blood pressure. Also in grade 10, you learned sodium is very important for the functioning of the muscles and the nervous system. So this salt is very, very important. Sodium chloride is very, very important. Right, so now aldosterone is exactly the same as ADH, except you're going to replace the word water with sodium chloride. It's exactly the same. You're getting bored?
No.
Okay, because I'll make you erase this. It'll keep you active. I still didn't forget that question, eh? Must ask it. He says I must ask it. All right, so let me ask it. So why, and you know what, in school I always tell the girls, if you can answer this difficult question, I'll give you the whole lesson free, because I know they won't get it right, so, but they get it right and then then I have to keep my promise. Why is it when the heart fails, the kidney fails as well? Yes. Yeah, well, carry on.
Then due to the heart failure, there's less pressure. The blood has less pressure, and therefore from a venous filtration doesn't occur because the pressure in the afferent arteriole is less, and that causes less.
You're just going to go around in circles. You know you were right till there. So basically, yes, the heart is responsible for the pressure. That pressure, when the heart is pumping blood pressure, that same pressure is needed for pressure filtration. So when the heart fails, the kidney fails at the same time. Okay, so that's a nice question to ask. But now that I've already told you, you might not get it. That I got from a higher grade book, the 2005 higher grade book. I got another one for you. Why do desert animals have a longer loop of Henle? Oh, that's easy. That's easy. It could be anything, any desert animal. They will have a longer loop of Henle. What's the function of the loop of Henle? Absorption of water. The longer the loop of Henle, the more water is absorbed. So that's how the desert animal conserves water. Okay, so those are the two questions I had. I'll think of more. Right. We're talking about aldosterone, controls the amount of sodium in the body. So, sodium chloride. If there is too much of sodium chloride in your blood, a message is picked up by chemoreceptors, and it sends a message to the adrenal gland to secrete less aldosterone. And if there's less aldosterone secreted in the renal tubules will become less permeable to sodium, because remember, in this renal tubules is sodium. Less sodium leaves the renal tubules and goes into the blood, right? And what will happen is the urine will have more sodium chloride, so your urine will be more concentrated. Okay. And the exact opposite, is it fine if I don't explain? Because you look like you're getting bored. So now it's time to bring out the matric questions. Yes, Tiffany? No, it doesn't have to be. No. High blood pressure, low blood pressure. Enough sodium in your body, less sodium in your body. Okay. Yes. So food intake. Yes. So when you take too much, what foods has the most amount of sodium chloride? Salt. Junk food. I'm going to have McDonald's after this. You know, when you look at those chips, you can actually see the salt on it. You must know, how do you make food taste nice? You put salt on it. So that's how you increase the salt. How do you decrease salt? Yes, unfortunately, that could be genetic as well. Or electrolytes, lack of electrolytes as well. It could be caused by virus, the gastrovirus, right? Bacteria, food poisoning, right? But it's the food that we take in, right? So, and that you learned in grade 10, healthy diets.